Hi everyone, today I'm gonna show you a mind-boggling combination that started on move 22 and ended with a checkmate after 21 moves. So just in case that you don't know what a combination is a sequence of moves that very often involve sacrifices and normally use different chess tactics in order to achieve a significant advantage or even a checkmate, as it happened in this game. So playing as white, we have former world champion Mikhail Botvinnik, who was normally a very solid and positional player, but in this game he really played like a butcher and tried to go for the kill in every single move. And even though this game might have one slight inaccuracy at a certain point, it is still impressive to see someone playing attacking moves for 21 moves. So let's start with the critical position. Here it is white to play. At first sight we can already see that white has a preferable position. White's pieces look more coordinated, these two bishops might be eyeing the king side. Black's pieces look a bit passive, a lot of the pieces on the 8th rank. This rook on a7 is also not looking very active there, although black might think about moving the bishop and then trying to use the rook to cover the 7th rank. Black is really defensive here. That's why Botvinnik played the very nice move knight to g5 to start with this amazing combination. So white is attacking this pawn f7 with these two knights. Black only has the king defending on f7 and there's no other way to cover 7. So if black doesn't do anything, white will simply capture that very important pawn f7 and try to attack black's king. That's why black captured this knight on g5, which was sacrificed, and after f takes g5, now white has the idea to take this knight, and the main point is that if black moves the knight, for example to d7, white will get another pawn, attack the rook, and then bring the queen to h5. For example, if the rook moves, then after queen to h5, we get this idea of queen to h8, giving a checkmate, so black's position is hopeless. That's why black decided to give the piece back and went knight 8 to d7. So the idea is that after pawn takes and knight takes, black gives the piece back, tries to defend, even though white still gets a very good position here. But if that had happened, we would probably not be analyzing this game, because Botvinnik was really inspired and he sacrificed another piece after knight takes f7. So white keeps all the ideas, even to take on f6, now attacking the rook, so there's nothing better than to take the knight on f7. And after king takes, here Botvinnik went with g6, with the idea to create a checkmating attack against black's king. I just want to mention that there was another alternative to go for a checkmating attack by taking the knight, and after knight takes, queen to h5, we give a check and we use this pin so the knight cannot capture the queen because the knight is pinned. And after a move like king to g8, white has a similar idea to what was played in the game to remove this defender to take on f6, sacrificing an exchange, and in this case plays a bishop on g6, and the idea is to go for a checkmating attack. For example, one idea might be to go queen to h7, rook to f1 and bishop to a3. And these positions are just extremely hard to calculate, and what Botvinnik played also looks very logical and convincing, because in this position he went for g6. And here black has three options, so the idea is that this pawn is going to be a very strong attacking piece. In the game black went for king to g8, but let's evaluate other alternatives. King to e8 doesn't look very strong because after queen takes e6, white has several ideas, for example bringing a rook to e1, attacking the bishop, going queen to f7, which in this case would be checkmate, so black already has to find ways to avoid the checkmate. Knight to f8 gives the d7 square for the king, but after queen to f7, king to d7 and bishop to f5, black's king looks very shaky there. So king to g8 was played in the game, and king to f8 was the other alternative, which would have given black chances to survive. Again, it is very hard to blame black for playing king to g8 because white got a checkmate 18 moves after playing king to g8. So it is very hard to see ahead in these positions, which Botvinnik, being a former world champion, managed to do. But the idea of king to f8 is that after queen takes e6, this looks desperate because queen to f7, checkmate is coming, and there's no easy way to cover that. But here black had the move knight to e5, sacrificing material to keep the game going, so black has only moves in this position, knight to e5. And the main idea is that after d takes e5, we manage to deflect this pawn, and now bishop to c5 is possible, it gives a check, so white has no time to give a checkmate. And after the king moves, now black can take on g2, black sacrifices material back, but now f7 is being covered, So black is doing fine in this line. But white has other options in this position. D takes e5 is not the only move. For example, here white can go for rook takes f6, which is a recurring idea in the position. And if black takes with the bishop, after bishop to a3, white is either giving a checkmate or winning a lot of material. Here the king cannot move, so after something like rook to d6, we take on d6, we fork the king and the queen. So white is winning a lot of material and attacking. Instead, g takes f6 is a lot better, but now I can try queen to h3, planning to give a checkmate on h8, and this position is just completely rational, very hard to evaluate for us. But in any case, king to f8 and then going knight to e5 was definitely black's best try. Because after g6 and king to g8, amazingly the game is pretty much decided, but white has to be very precise, because white is already sacrificing a lot of material and will even sacrifice more. So after queen takes e6, black has to go to h8. If the king goes to f7, we get a checkmate. So after king to h8 and queen to h3, king to g8, white still cannot play queen to h7 because the knight is covering h7. But from now onwards, Botvinnik just played pretty much perfectly. So this makes this game really amazing. And before I continue with the rest of the game, I have great news for you. I recently launched my chess tactics course, where you will learn every single chess tactic out there. And more important than that, I will teach you a clear-cut method to find tactical ideas in any given position. In this course, you will also learn a lot through practice, so I will be testing every single idea that I'll teach. I'll be giving you a lot of exercises, and then I'll provide you a detailed solution for every position that I give. By getting this course, you get full-time access, and for the next few days only, I'm giving you a massive discount, so feel free to check the link in the description if you want to know more about this offer. So let's go back to the rest of the game. White is 2 pieces down, so white has to be very convincing. And here Botvinnik went for bishop to f5. The idea is to go bishop to e6 and then queen to h8, giving a checkmate. Black tried to cover the e6 square, but white still insisted with bishop to e6, forcing black to capture the bishop. There are no other options, and after queen takes, king to h7, queen to h3, and king to g8. So we're just 10 moves after the combination started, and white keeps on sacrificing material. Rook takes f6, removing the knight that was covering h7. Black took with the bishop. If black captures with the pawn, then we get a checkmate after queen to h7 and queen to f7. So black tried bishop takes f6, and after queen to h7 and king to f8, white still has to be careful. Queen to h8 is not a checkmate. Bishop to a3, giving a check, might look attractive, but the king can go to e8 and then plan to escape towards the queen side. But Botvinnik found the very precise rook to e1, just cutting the king, and now queen to h8 would give a checkmate. The position looks desperate, but black found a very nice try, bishop to e5, interfering with the activity of the rook, and Botvinnik found the best continuation. Taking on e5 was possible and it looks very tempting, but here black's idea is to give back some material, sacrifice the queen and take on e5, and in this position the game might continue even though white still has a much better position because the king on f8 is very weak. But instead Botvinnik went for queen to h8, and the point is that after king to e7, queen takes g7, white is using the pin on the bishop, and after king to d6 and queen takes e5, king to d7, so white is a rook down, but white is trying to attack the king. I'm not sure when Botvinnik started this whole combination if he thought that he would get a checkmate in this position. I think that his intuition told him that white has enough pieces to attack the king on d7, but white still has to be very accurate because black's king might want to go to c8, and if black is given just a few moves, black will consolidate and have a large material advantage, but Botvinnik went queen to f5. Here black went king to c6. If black goes king to c7, then rook to e7 is just very powerful, and after king to c6, d5. Now this pawn is another attacking piece. Black went king to c5. Now white can force a checkmate, but white found the most accurate way to get that by going bishop to a3, and after king takes, queen to e4, black went king to c3. If the king goes to b5, then after queen to b4 we get a checkmate. or after king to c3, bishop to b4, king to b2, and queen to b1, we get a very pretty checkmate, 21 moves after white started this combination with knight to g5 on the 22nd move. So hope that you enjoyed this game, which is the longest combination that I've ever seen in a game, and hope that you get some inspiration for your future attacking games. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.